I think one of the underrated secrets to success, and certainly something that's had more impact than probably anything else in my little success where I've found is support system. And I think it's something that we talk about a lot of the time, but we really don't explain why and how it actually works. And for me, it's been really one specific person, and that's been my wife. And we've been married for 9 years today. But I think it's important to not just, throw out some nice tropes here and there. This is actually the first time that we met. It's a long story. But basically, the long story cut short is that the support system for me has been more than just the actual things that she does. Like she cooks for me, she cleans, she works really hard. We actually started out with both of us kind of being the breadwinners, really. And actually, she was making more money than I was. But really, eventually, it transitioned to where when I was doing this full time, whether it was an Overwatch League with London or with the content, is that I legitimately needed a support system. Like I didn't have the time to do a lot of the basic things like cooking and cleaning and doing all the house projects and doing the taxes and even some stupid things like sometimes mowing the lawn. Well, more than sometimes. But really, even things like my YouTube shorts and my TikToks and bouncing ideas off of. And I think like so many things that like really so many projects that I was not being able to catch up on. Even things like helping replace the carpet in one room. And it sounds like just little things, but like it's normally things that, to be able to accomplish, you have to make sacrifices elsewhere. And I didn't have to make the sacrifices. I was able to fully go mad, absent-minded professor, mad scientist mode, fully dedicated to my craft because of her. Now, not a lot of you guys may be in a relationship, maybe married to somebody like her, but you don't have to be. And I think that's where we start to talk about more of what does the support system really mean besides those physical things that I was describing. And I could talk about a lot of other things that Pepper has done for me. And pull up another picture here, maybe a little bit more recent here. And she is, first off, the rant receiver. There was a lot of times in the past. I mean, it happens every few weeks where I get frustrated at something in my stream or my content, or I'm trying to brainstorm ideas, or with London, even when I was coaching contenders, where something really frustrating would bother me, and I just needed to rant and talk out loud and figure things out. And she was a ready and waiting ear. And I think a lot of times it's not just the catharsis of talking out loud, but having somebody that may even just sit there and bounce ideas back off of you. Is something that really helped me to get through a lot of honestly, the toughest times that I went through. And that's part of the reason why Uprising Academy for me was always the hardest time, because she wasn't there. I was basically in Boston by myself. I think another thing is having somebody who is it's always something to look forward to. It's like, no matter how difficult or rough my job is, I know that she's going to show up and be kind and considerate and fun and cheery. And I'm going to enjoy, no matter how bad or frustrating whatever up to that point was. I know that when I get time with her, it's like, oh, it's going to be okay. I think there's something to be said about something to look forward to. No matter how bad things get, having something to look forward to every day or every week is just unbelievably important. And I think that's what is really the motivation to just do a great job with what I'm doing right now, even if it's tough, even if it's hard, because I always know what's going to be happening on the other side. And that's something that a support system for me, she provided. Going beyond that, I think wisdom when I was failing to be objective on my own, failing to come up with ideas because I was too emotionally invested, I was too tunnel vision in what I was doing wrong. And sometimes I honestly think it's really important to just have somebody force you to take your mind off of things. We talk about like having somebody to look forward to or having something to look forward to. And her ability to shift my mind from whatever I was thinking on to doing something else fun or just talking about things, or whether it was getting it off of my chest or just completely ignoring it altogether. That's something that she's always been so amazing at. And there's so many other things, just the kindness and the support. And she's been my best friend for over a decade now. And, I sometimes feel bad. I actually hesitated making this video for a long time because I realized that I am extremely fortunate. I don't think there's any way to describe what our relationship has been. She is as close to as perfect as you can possibly be. And I hesitated because it felt unfair for me to talk about why this is so important, knowing that that's maybe just not a realistic standard for other people to go up to. I mean, I really do feel like that. But I realized that I think the things that she provides, even if you don't have somebody like Pepper, sucks to suck, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's an acquaintance, whether it's somebody even just over the internet, having somebody to be able to just burn steam off, talk to. I think it's really, really dangerous when people like me who are on their grind set trying to build their own brand or accomplish goals, whether it was getting to Overwatch League, succeeding in the content creation, building a brand, whatever. It's really easy to isolate yourself. It's really easy to put yourself in a box and turn out and tune out the world. And not only do I find that to be physically and mentally extremely dangerous and unhealthy, especially in the long term, but I think that you compromise your ability to do things well and to do things objectively because of that isolation. I think in a way where we talk about undervaluing sleep, because any time that you spend sleep is not time working, but it really increases the quality of the work that you have afterwards. I think that really the same argument applies for that support system. And whether that's, somebody, a significant other, a brother, a sister, a friend, parents, and I'm fortunate enough to have not just Pepper, but a good supporting family system as well. And I think not everyone is fortunate to have that, but you need to take the time to make friends, and you need to take the time to find people who you can vent to or bounce ideas off of, or just people who are fun, just for you to take your mind off of what you're struggling with. Because not only will it increase that quality of work, but it's going to increase the quality of your life. And I think that we as humans were created to be more than just automatons or whatever, just to show up and accomplish and be success. Because ultimately, even if you achieve all the success, I've read way too many stories of people that have achieved success and compromising really everything that mattered the most. And that was their support system, that was their friends, their family. And at the end of their lives, or even at the end of their success, they kind of look back and go, well, I just don't know if it was worth it. And I know if that was me, it would not be worth it for me at all. And I've made compromises. I think one of the key factors in me moving on from London was because I was not willing, and really certainly the factor with me choosing to not continue in the Overwatch League was her. I was not willing to live apart from her for 6-7 months on end, because I had done that. I had done that for 2 or 3 months, and it was the worst time of my entire life, and not even close. It was miserable. And so there were certain lines in the sand where I could have pursued more on paper success, and I chose not to, because I knew that I would not be able to do my job as well as I could have. And I also knew that there were certain things I was just not willing to compromise for my own personal well-being. She's too important. Who's too important for you? Who is too important for you? And take the time to spend time with them, to do things with them. Be selfless. I'm very fortunate because I have somebody who's so selfless, but I also, I need to make sure that I do things that she wants to do, and not just, you're here to support me, do what I want to do, So we do a lot of things together. We do really everything together. And so find somebody, even if you don't find somebody quite as good as she is, you can find somebody who can support you and who you can support right back. Like I said, I struggle to make this video because I don't want to rub this in, but I really don't think you need somebody who's a 5-star person like she is. I think it's, regardless of how you measure success, you need somebody. You need that support system. And I think without it, it's unquestionable that I would not be here today doing what I'm doing.